Finally, we are back to our people and to our family. Today we have a huge day. We are here to present you one of the best game ever, a diamond from the start till the end. But no further delays about this. A small warning is that this video contains some spoils. Grab your food or your drink and let's enjoy our video. As you will play God of War Ragnarok, you will notice something special. The most powerful weapon Ragnarok holds is not the Leviathan axe, which Kratos uses to slash through his enemies' bodies, causing blood fields all over the ground. And, of course, it isn't the inspiring set pieces, of which there are many, that feature towering beasts and marvelous landscapes that make you quiver at the very sight. Not even the Blades of Chaos, which has taken a huge amount of souls with them all these years. All these are remarkable, but what will make you love the game is the amazing character development. Yes, the strong story and the drama which appears between mythical people that somehow feels real, believable, and earned. It is easy to forget that a game featuring a man whose primary talent is being world leader and general has a genuine heart. Of course, here we can go back to history and remember where this anger woke up from. I believe that Kratos had always a genuine heart before his wife and his daughter was killed after Ares' betrayal, as we saw many years ago in the first God of War. But Ragnarok doubles down on the soul and emotion of this character drama introduced in God of War 2018 to incredible good effect, as I could say, while expanding on the same combat and exploration and continuing to present its unique cinematic presentation in effective ways. Ragnarok is a fine piece of work, and every player who plays this remains with a long-lasting impression. They really took it on another level. Of course, as reference about the story, Ragnarok continues the journey of the Greek god Kratos and his son Atreus as they try to leave behind all this which happened in God of War 2018 and live peacefully. The relationship is much stronger now, but as they try to weather the drastic circumstances of the world, and as Atreus is growing up, they still have a lot to learn from each other and to work more between themselves. Ragnarok presents us a more mature Atreus coming of age journey, his desire to earn his father's trust. We could notice that in God of War 2018 too. Kratos continues to deal with his past life and begins to open up to the people now closest to him in genuinely moving ways as the main events of the plot unfold. Of course, there are twists and turns aplenty, with fake outs and misdirection woven into the story's fabric as it darts between loud spectacle and tender conversation. Characters old and new play their own crucial parts, including fresh characterizations of Norse behemoths like Thor and Odin, with a line of dialogue rarely wasted between them. Despite being laden with myth and melodrama, there's still plenty of time for welcome pockets of shallower silliness that almost always elicit a laugh, whether that be another bizarre dwarven contraption or the simple thrill of Kratos eating a sausage. God of War combat style was always a huge attraction for all gamers all these years. Of course, Ragnarok continues that tradition, adding many things to upgrade your combat style. It may seem familiar at the first time, but as always you have to be patient. Through your game you will find new ways to fight, extremely violent and of course with a lot of blood, as God of War always does. Heavy cleaves of his axe crunching into enemies, making them fold like paper. And yes, you can still throw that axe into your enemies' faces, unfortunate for all those who are in its path, as you're recalling it back to your hand. Kratos' blades still whip around in every direction, causing pain and fire in those who are lucky to be against them. As in the previous God of War, the 2018, there is an enormous amount of violence with Kratos ripping apart any enemy who stands in front of him. You usually fight in tight arenas, having a slight space to dodge or block enemies' attacks as you face waves after waves of enemies spawning around you. A part I really liked a lot is that Arx seems pretty similar with the previous game, and that's not bad at all. It has a dynamic mix of heavy attacks and ranged powers, but how you wield the blade is a little different, and that's something I agreed because I wasn't satisfied enough with the combat of blades of God of War 2018. There's a greater emphasis on using them to hook enemies and move them around the arena. This reminded me more the style of old God of Wars, making me feel nostalgic, having a nostalgic move set with a brilliant modern edge. The action feels and looks outstanding, and there are no exceptions when I say that Ragnarok is an improvement over the old ones. Of course, both weapons have new tricks with which you can face your enemies. For example, you can frost your axe by holding the triangle button to make your next attack extremely strong. You can do similar skills with your other weapons too, just by holding the same button, the triangle. In Ragnarok, even shield now is an effective way to enjoy your combat style. There are many shields which you can buy or craft, depending on your combat style of course. A sturdier one can soak up heavier hits, while a high-risk reward version boosts parry's effectiveness. Parrying has a particular moment, and when you nail the timing, it still feels fantastic after hundreds of deflects. And yes, that is a skill you have to master for your late game after you beat the story. It's like Souls games, as long as you train, the game gets easier. Another important thing about the combat is the runic abilities. Runic abilities are back again, and even though there isn't the same choices as the previous game, they still remain pretty effective. Fury stabs that launch a bomb into the others, huge explosions and variety of combos are some of them you will definitely enjoy having with you. Of course, my favorite part are the brutal finishers Kratos does, as we used from the old ones until so far. It is a part I believe all gamers will not get enough even though they will play this game forever. Heads leaving their bodies, bodies cut in half and other brutal finishers are some of them you will find in your path as you enjoy Kratos' raids. There is noticeable a good amount of variety in the randomly chosen weapon, specific animations too, so you won't get bored of seeing that one head stop execution move from 2018 over and over again. On the other hand, Kratos is a little lighter on his feet this time around, with a bit less of a thumping clomp to his brain. Also, and I liked it a lot, movement was improved now, as you can now grapple up from a distance using the blades and launch across gaps to dive into combat. That was another nostalgic way to travel as Kratos used to do in the first God of War games. Sometimes playing the game and fighting all these monsters, I was feeling that the developers tried to combine the old games with the new ones, giving us an amazing result of nostalgic things with improved and modern ways. Last but not least, Atreus arrows remain pretty common, changing only the effects of the arrows cause you need them to solve different puzzles. You will need Atreus arrows too in every fight, as the attacks and status effects such as burn, frost, poison and many others are increased in Ragnarok, giving you the feeling you are in a real battlefield area. Each slalom you do to a ranged attack, variable and unblockable attacks are some of them you will face in every fight. Enemies will be able to make powerful attacks, some of them can be parried, some of them can only be interrupted, and some of them you can only dodge them. Combat will be developed at every part of your game, giving you the joy to play more and more. I would say that was one of the biggest plays in the game, as you will never be bored in fighting. Environmental strikes, such as ripping a jagged tree from the ground before swinging it like an oversized baseball bat, are one of the additions you will find depending on the environment around you. Ragnarok has hundreds of new ways to destroy your enemies than God of War 2018 did, but I don't want to talk further as it is better to let you explore them by yourselves. You will have much more joy that way. Of course, all that we mentioned above were about regular fights, as boss fights are of both a higher quantity and quality, making the first encounter of Stranger in 2018 feels like a walk on the park. You will meet extra large sizes of bosses that were so prevalent in the original trilogy, creatures regularly of a bigger scale than we saw 4 years ago. Each of it has its own difficulty to test your capability as well, and even when you play it on a low difficulty, you may find yourself in a bad situation. Another thing I really enjoyed in Ragnarok is the puzzles. Ragnarok's puzzles offer much of what you would expect, lodging the axe into objects to keep them from moving or freezing them to redirect water flows, burning vines to get elevators working, and many more. Smart new puzzle ideas are introduced in the whole duration of the game, something I believe was lacking in the previous God of War. Most of the time, souls are hidden under your nose, fun and never in danger of slowing down your walkthrough. For the fun fact, sometimes Atreus and Mimir can come with a hint from the very first time you will meet the puzzle, stealing from you the satisfaction you would have if you ever found the solution. Armor customization now has been streamlined, resulting in the removal of the slotting system for a more straightforward upgrading mechanic. Enchantments now are placed inside a separate amulet rather than spread over various pieces of gear. This division makes seeing what you have equipped easier and means you aren't lost in the many menu settings for your armors. I will be honest, it took me a lot to understand the armor customization menu in the God of War 2018, something that made me not to deal with armor build pretty often. This also means you can upgrade a piece of armor and carry it with you the whole journey in case you wanna switch build depending on the enemies or just if you just love how it looks on Kratos. A small advice is to change your build pretty often as you can experience what Ragnarok can offer to you. And trust me, there are many good things. Of course, the same goes with the weapons too, as they can now be upgraded with attachments as shields and handles, and each of it has its own bonuses. Last but not least, you will love the new skill token system that was added, which allows you to choose bonuses like damage, elemental, stun, and other boosts. Ragnarok tried to give the ability to build your Kratos depending on your style this time, rather than the previous one that felt you were playing in a pre-styled figure. I would be honest, in 2018 I felt I couldn't choose my playstyle a lot, feeling more the game giving me what I had to do. It's a huge RPG improvement this time, and in my opinion that boosts the game's joy a lot. And yes, side quests couldn't be missing from a game like God of War. At the end, it is an RPG and side quests are part of games like that. Favors for helping giant creatures and adventures full of revelations are some of the parts you will enjoy doing. If you want to feel how Kratos is on the inside, trust me and chase every side quest you will find. They are a great source of character development as you will help friends and companies learning more about them, their beliefs and their past. Some side quests remain pretty common, having to kill only legendary enemies such as the Valkyries from the God of War 2018. But here is the fun fact, they will extremely test your limits, even if you aren't playing the game in the last difficulty. The difficulty give me God of War, and that is why you have to test your builds and change it depending on your needs as we said above in the armor customization. Get ready to fight absolutely tough as nails enemies on the end game, testing how much it takes for you to rage after death and death. Ending, of course, side quests such as collecting things and freeing Odin ravens are still here to make your full walkthrough extra bigger. Get ready to spend a lot of hours if you want to end every last piece of this diamond. In conclusion, Santa Monica made an amazing game which can create a new unforgettable Norse saga. There are so many things I want to mention that the video cannot show. What do I suggest? Whenever you can, go for it and enjoy it as much as you can. The words here cannot express exactly what I felt during my first playthrough. Impeccable writing, perfect performances from the actors and amazing character development are some of them that makes it one of the best games ever. It's everything a sequel could give, always respecting the legendary lineage and mythology but not afraid to take risks to add more things which can create a masterpiece. God of War Ragnarok is an achievement from Santa Monica and probably could have won the Game of the Year 2022 award, face to face with Elden Ring. For me, I have two games of the year 2022 as I consider them masterpieces, both of them. A game that makes all the other compared to it feel mortal beside it, as Kratos felt with all of his enemies. Oh, oh my god. What a game. For all of you that still haven't played the game, I hope I managed to give you a taste about this marvelous masterpiece. For all of you that have already played that, no words, I know your vibrations. This game is amazing. Of course, as always, I hope I gave you most of the info I could and explained most of the game only with some spoils on it. If you enjoyed that, please show us your love by subscribing to our channel, following our social media and commenting down below so we share our thoughts. More videos coming soon, so stay tuned. See you on the next video.